It is evident from this discussion that one cannot verify the veracity of something unless the Creator is regarded to be an embodiment of truth and justice. From this fact, all the actions and deeds which emanate from God are regarded to be just, and the way this fact is validated through intellect, it is also validated through universal truths. An explanation of this compact premise is that the Almighty has ingrained piety in human nature and made hearts inclined to relish and accept it. In such a situation, how is it possible for us that we like piety and not regard God as someone who likes piety? How can we regard our liking for the truth to be true if we are not satisfied with the liking for the truth of our Creator? We want to please Him by doing a good deed because we are satisfied that He is pleased by a good deed. We ascribe good attributes to Him because in liking these attributes we are fully convinced of the veracity of our nature. 2. The foundation of faith is love for God. We profess faith in a being whom we love, whom we want to please, and from whom we have high hopes and expectations. This is not possible unless we are certain that it is absolutely impossible that He be unjust and oppressive. He will grant His favors to those who will obey Him and punish only those who are worthy of punishment. It is against human nature to love an unjust and oppressive master. 3. If one deliberates on the favors and blessings of the Almighty, the foundation of the requirement of professing faith in the Almighty which emerges in human nature is gratitude. This gratitude becomes mandatory when one accepts that it is the right of the Creator who has bestowed these favors on us and a requisite of these favors. It is this very reality on the basis of which the Quran is called shirk or polytheism, as zulm or injustice, and iman as gratitude. Owing to this very reason, the basis of a person demanding his rights is necessity of justice. This is a self-evident reality of Sharia and law. On these very grounds, the basis of every Sharia is justice and fairness. 4. The consequence of faith is obedience to God, and the consequence of obedience to God is the pleasure of God. In every deed and act which is done, there is a similar relationship of causation which the Almighty has established through His commands and directives and has guided us in various ways towards it. And since we have full conviction on these results of deeds, hence, while relying on His promises, we obey Him. If we do not have faith on the fact that God honors His promises, all basis of deeds will be razed to ground, and all reliance will remain on either of the following two things. Like the Christians, on the false notion of intercession which totally depends on Christ, whom they worship as a deity and love more than God Himself, or like the Jews, on their deviation from the truth and their short-sightedness. For they abandoned their ship to the winds, and because of their arrogance and pride, did not remain content with the judgment of God, as if to them there was no principle before God to discriminate good from evil. To protect oneself from going astray in this manner, it is essential that one has full conviction that God adheres to justice, and every directive and promise of His is true, as specified by the Quran in the following words, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا, or fulfilled was the word of your Lord in truth and in justice. Surah number 6, verse 115. Amin Hasan Islahi, Tadabbur Quran, Volume 2, page 55. Following are the sunan, or the practices and dealings of God. 1. Tests and trials. God has created this world for trial and test. Every single person on this earth faces these trials, and as such His practice of putting mankind through trials is a universal phenomenon. Whatever is ingrained in human nature comes to surface because of these trials. The secrets of the inner personality of a person are revealed through these very trials, and the levels attained by a person in his ideologies and in his deeds are ascertained through these very trials. The Quran says that life and death have been created for the purpose of judging that who among mankind adopts a rebellious attitude towards his Creator and who leads a life according to the liking of his Creator. No doubt, the Almighty has knowledge of everything. However, He has set the practice for Himself that He does not merely reward and punish people on the basis of His knowledge. On the contrary, He does so on the basis of their deeds. For this very purpose, He has implemented the system of trial on this earth. The Quran states, الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. He who created death and life that he might test you as to which of you is best regarding deeds. And he is also mighty and forgiving. Surah number 67, verse 2. The circumstances of sorrow and happiness, poverty and affluence, grief and joy, which befall a person in this world are governed by this very practice of God. Through such circumstances, the Almighty tests His servants and differentiates the good among them from the evil. When He blesses someone with affluence and status, He tests whether such people will remain grateful to Him or not. And when He afflicts someone with poverty and hardships, He tests whether such people will remain patient or not. The Quran states, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً وَإِلَيْنَا تُرْجَعُونَ. And we are inflicting you with sorrow and happiness to test you, and to us shall you return. Surah number 21, verse 35. Writes Imam Amin Hasan Islahi. He gives wealth and status to some people to see if they become grateful, humble and obedient on this favor, or end up proud and arrogant, pompous and conceited, and ill-treat the poor, and do not spend on others from what God has blessed them with. Similarly, He deprives some people of wealth to see if they remain patient in such circumstances, are thankful for what they have, and are satisfied with their fate, and remain honorable in their hardships, or in frustration and disappointment end up in despair and dejection, show discontent on their fate, become angry with God, and live a life of misery as a result. Amin Hasan Islahi, Tadabbur-e-Quran, Volume 3, page 60. All these facilities and provisions with which this earth is endowed with are meant to test man. These provisions, in other words, are not provided to him for his indulgence and pleasure. They are a means to try him. By providing them to man, the Almighty is judging whether a person seeks the comprehension of his Creator and in this way attains success in the hereafter, or loses his way by indulging in them. The Quran says, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. We have decked the earth with whatever is in it, so we can test them that who is the best regarding his deeds. Surah number 8, verse 7. Imam Amin Hasan Islahi writes, this verse is a place of trial and test. In it, God is testing that who, while using his intellect and brain, seeks the hereafter, and who, while following his desires, ends up seeking this world. For the purpose of test, God has adorned the face of this earth with makeup that is deceptively pleasing to the eye. There is great lure and attraction in wealth and children, in orchards and gardens, in fields and crops, in cars and villas, in buildings and castles, in positions of high social and political status of this world. All its pleasures are at hand and easy to attain, while its pangs are hidden. On the other hand, all the successes of the hereafter are as yet concealed from the eyes, and those who seek them are immediately faced with a lot of hardships in this world. Indeed, this is a severe trial. Not every slave to his passions can come through it. Only those will sail through it who are perspicacious enough not to be misled from these worldly lures which may attempt to deceive them in one guise or another, and are never prepared to lose the favors of the hereafter by getting caught in the lures and attraction of this world. Amin Hasan Islahi, Tadabbur-e-Quran, Volume 4, page 558. These are the details of the law of trial and test that is generally faced by human beings. A specific form of this law comes into play in the times of the Rusul, or the messengers of God. At the behest of the Almighty, their propagation culminates in the worldly judgment of their adversaries, and those who claim to profess faith in these messengers are, during the course of this propagation, put through certain trials and tests which are generally not faced by others. Consequently, the Quran says, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Do people think that once they say, we believe in the Rusul, they will be left alone and not be tried, even though we similarly tried those who lived before them? So God will surely set apart the truthful, and He will also surely set apart the liars. Surah number 29, verses 2 and 3. Once the messengers of God communicate the truth to their adversaries to the extent that they are left with no excuse to deny it, this test manifests itself to isolate and separate the believers from the disbelievers before the latter are punished. The Quranic words, فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ of the above quoted verse refer to this very reality. The implication is that before the judgment is delivered, it is clearly known where each person stands. At certain other places in the Quran too, this law and practice of God is mentioned with similar emphasis. The Quran states, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَالنَّقْصِ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. And we shall test you with some fair and some famine, and some loss of property and life, and some loss in produce from the fields. And O Prophet, give glad tidings of success in this world and in that to come to those who persevere in this cause. Those who when afflicted with some calamity say, we belong to God, and to Him one day we shall return. Surah number 2, verses 155 and 156. 2. Guidance and error. In this trial, man has been asked to guard himself from going astray and consciously adopt the guided path. The Quran has informed us that this guidance is found in the very nature of a person. Moreover, once a person attains the age of intellectual maturity, the signs of the heavens and the earth around him direct his attention to this guidance. If a person values and treasures this guidance and benefits from it and is grateful to his Lord for it, it is the practice and law of God that he increases the glow of this guidance and creates in a person a further desire for this guidance, and as a result of this induces in him the urge to benefit from the guidance brought by the prophets of God. The Quran states, Nurun ala nur, yahdillahu li nurihi man yasha, wa yadribullahu al-amthala lil-nasi wallahu bi kulli shay'in alim. Light upon light, God guides to His light whom He wills. This is a parable, and God cites parables to mankind for their guidance, and God has knowledge of all things. Surah number 24, verse 35. At another place, the Quranic words are, وَالَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا زَادَهُمْ هُدًى وَآتَاهُمْ تَقْوَاهُمْ. And those who are guided, He will increase their guidance and also grant them their share of piety. Surah number 47, verse 17. This can be called culmination of guidance, and the Quran has stated with full clarity that without the will of God, even a desire for obtaining it is not produced in a person. This will of God is also related to this law of guidance of His. God is aware of everything and is also wise. He gives His favor to only those who accept the guidance ingrained in their nature. The Quran says, إِنَّ هَذِهِ تَذْكِرَةٌ فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ سَبِيلًا وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيمًا حَكِيمًا يُدْخِلُ مَن يَشَاءُ فِي رَحْمَتِهِ وَالظَّالِمِينَ أَعَدَّ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. This Quran is only a reminder, so whoever wishes should take the path leading to God, and you do not wish, O people, until God so wishes according to His law. Indeed, God is all-knowing, wise. He admits into His mercy whomever He wishes on the basis of His knowledge and wisdom, and for the wrongdoers He has prepared a grievous penalty. Surah number 76, verses 29 to 31.